Good morning and welcome back to Built by Bo. As you see, the Granada is home. This was an accident. It was Father's Day. My dad was here for Father's Day and my daughter's birthday. I took him over next door to show him the Granada. We put a little gasoline down the car, filled the bowls up. I turned the key and started it for him, and we're sitting there chatting about the car and wondering why the car hasn't shut off. Well, believe it or not, the car started running on 26-year-old fuel, which is completely unbelievable. We couldn't even believe it, other than the smell of the gas was completely disgusting coming out the exhaust. So then, of course, the cameras aren't rolling or anything, and I decided, well, let's try and back it out. So throw a couple liters of ATF in and back out of the driveway and pull up the street here and into my driveway. So at this point now, we're going to rip the gas tank out, get the gas tank back in, and see if we can get this thing running a little bit better and continue on with some of that stuff. After we get that done, maybe we'll attempt to take it around the block for its very first test drive in 26 years.
The gas tank, there's no running for the gas tank. I don't know why it runs.
I don't either. Try and clean that up, Chris.
Whoa! Why does it run? Just.
We're not sure why it runs. It is so bad inside the tank, but it does. See, that's exactly what I thought it would look like in there.
Yep.
It's hard to tell inside this tank, but it's really crowded up. Dad's gonna pick it up here.
And you can see the bottom better.
You can see how varnished it'll up, which is also going to be all up inside the carburetor as well. So carburetor manifold are next. All right, so I'm over at the trailer now. I've got my new gas tank, which I got from Rock Auto. Now, Rock Auto, there wasn't a lot of choices for fuel tanks on Rock Auto, but the one that I ordered was the Spectra Premium gas tank, and believe it or not, if you look in here, it's actually made in Canada, which is a bonus, not China. Also stamped on the gas tank too. Right down here, made in Canada. Awesome. Rock Auto didn't have the sending unit, so I ended up getting it from ACP, which is Classic Performance in the States, and fuel sender, and also not made in China, made in Taiwan. A little bit better maybe, but honestly there was no choices for a fuel sender anywhere, and I'm not taking any chances with the one in that car because it's been sitting in there for 26 years now. And with your fuel sender and with the gas tank, they both came with a new seal and a new sealing ring, so we'll get this installed. I like to put a little bit of lubricant, Vaseline, Silk Glide, whatever you have around the seal, just so it has a chance of survival. And it holds it in place from shifting as you're putting the cap and everything on. Now you'll notice in the fuel sender, most of them can only go one way. They'll either have a tab, or this one in particular has two tabs, which located in the gas tanks can only go in one way. that's it. It's ready to go. We'll get it back over to the Granada. We'll swap over some of the grommets and we'll get it back in the car. So all I did with the exhaust is literally temporarily just scab on a 2-chamber Flowmaster. The tailpipe and resonator in the back were all rotten inside, full of rust and debris, so I just cut that off and just scabbed it on right there. This is completely temporary. Somewhere after that Y pipe, we will put a junction in and put a nice new stick of 2.5 and into this Flowmaster, and then we'll do a turn down for now. This is just temporary to get the rotten stuff off. All right, so this is our final finished product of the new tank underneath here. We've got a small section of fuel line going up to the factory metal line there. The new sender that we got, which we already installed. Some new hardware, and that's about that. So let's get her down and get some gas in this. All right, so we got the new tank, new sender. As you can see by the video, the tank was so bad inside. Like, it's exactly how I expected it, but I definitely didn't expect it to be like that after seeing it run. It didn't run well, but actually running and driving on that fuel that was in that tank in that condition is, I don't even know how it was doing it, but it did. I guess it wanted to live. So we still have to do the intake, the carb, and the fuel pump. So it's running on the 26-year-old pump, 26-year-old carb that hasn't been opened up, but a brand new tank with some brand new fuel. So let's get this thing started for the first time and get some new fuel up in it. Okay, here we go. First drive around the block in 26 years. You can see it kind of craps out when I try and give it too much, because that carburetor is so gummed up. The fact that it even runs and drives is amazing. just scabbed on a 2-chamber flow master that I had laying around. So, sounds better than it did. Actually, handles pretty good too. The suspension feels okay. Steering feels pretty good. This might be a nice driving rig once we get it running right. Carburetor's really struggling. I went to clean out the fuel filter and it hissed back on me with pressure, so obviously the needle and seat is gummed up big time. Well, I definitely wouldn't want to go too far with it right now, but I'm going to call that successful for the first drive in that many years. Well, all in all, I'm going to call that a success. So after 26 years, we made it around the block without any major hiccups. We didn't stall out. We didn't have to get towed home. So I'm going to call that a win. Now, the car obviously doesn't run that well when you try and give it gas, as the carburetor inside is going to be completely plug solid with stuff, just like the gas tank. So in the next video, we're going to remedy that by putting on a 4-barrel manifold, Holley 650 vacuum secondary carburetor, and a new fuel pump. And I'm probably going to doctor up the exhaust at that time. From there, we'll see if we can get it running a lot better and take it for a longer road test so we can actually start having some fun with this car and get going with some of the other stuff like the exhaust, etc. So probably on the next video, I'll end up doing the manifold, the carburetor, fuel pump, and I might start making the exhaust a little bit better because it was rattling, and make it a little less temporary. But once again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like the videos. Drop a comment if you want, and I'll see you on the next one.